Hi there mate, how's it going? It's Benja here, and this is a breakdown and review of 1883, episodes 1 and 2. 1883 focuses on the origin story of the Dutton family from Yellowstone. Our main protagonist is John Dutton's great-grandfather, James Dutton, who embarks on a journey west with his family. James is a former Confederate soldier who spent 3 years in a Union prison until the end of the Civil War, and since then he has turned his life around with his family. James and his wife Margaret have 2 children, Elsa and John. I suppose this little fella is the grandfather of John Dutton from Yellowstone. Margaret and the kids take the train to Fort Worth, Texas, alongside James' sister Claire and her daughter Mary Abel, while James brings their belongings to Texas with a horse wagon. They will regroup there and start their journey up north toward the northwest area. Just outside Fort Worth, we see James being chased by half a dozen bandits, and James is able to hold his own. His shooting skills combined with his tactical awareness impresses 2 strangers from a distance. These are Pinkertons. They work for the Pinkerton National Detective Agency, which is a private security and detective firm founded in the 1850s. The one on the right is Shea Brennan, and next to him is his right-hand man, Thomas. They fought together in the Civil War, which is why Thomas keeps calling Shea Captain. And as far as I know, the Pinkerton Agency was known to hire minorities from the get-go, which is how Thomas is able to work for them in that time period. Shea, on the other hand, has recently lost his entire family to smallpox, and he's got a gun to his head at the start of episode 1. He can't go through with it, and the actor portraying Shea, Sam Elliott, does an excellent job of illustrating the pain this character is feeling. Elliott was the actor that excited me the most when I heard about this show, and he did not disappoint in the premiere. We'll talk more about him later on. The Pinkertons approach James after he takes care of the bandits, and James is understandably like, "Thanks for the help, guys." Nonetheless, they warn James not to take the bandits' horses because that would attract unwanted attention, and James listens to their advice. I think this gunfight sequence did a brilliant job to get me in the mood. This is why I'm here watching this show. Give me 5 shootouts every episode and I won't mind. So yeah, this was a strong opening. James then goes into town where he is pickpocketed after he rents some storage room and a guard for his wagon. James shoots the thief in the arse before he can run away. He recovers his wallet and the crowd lynches the thief, once again displaying the brutal norms of this area and this time period. You cannot relax for a single second. Somebody's out to get you at all times. As James makes his way to the hotel, we spend a bit of time on the train where we learn that James' sister Claire is quite uptight and she doesn't like the way Elsa has been raised because she has been given too much freedom. After Margaret finds Elsa kind of flirting with a stranger, Claire shows Margaret the quote-unquote proper way to discipline Elsa, as Claire repeatedly slaps Elsa. Since we're talking about Elsa, I just wanted to say that the worst thing about this show so far is her voiceovers. I absolutely hate voiceovers in general. Maybe they're good for certain characters like Dexter, for example, but overall I don't like it when they have this much internal monologue on a TV show or a movie, because this is not a friggin' novel. And I say these things despite thinking that Elsa's storyline overall is interesting. I just don't like the voiceover element. That might be my only complaint about the show so far. Moving on though, episode 1 actually starts with a scene from the future. A wagon train has been hit by a group of Indians, and Elsa is fighting for survival. She shoots one individual but gets an arrow in the belly for her troubles, so her future is looking bleak. But if Beth Dutton is anything to go by, we know that you're gonna need more than that to kill a Dutton lady. Also, I have mixed feelings about this intro, but it's definitely going to keep us on the edge of our seats, wondering when that attack is going to take place. We don't have to wait until then to see Elsa in danger though, because after she and the rest of the family arrive in Fort Worth, there's an unfortunate mix-up at the hotel where a drunkard walks into Elsa and John's room. This idiot tries to get his way with Elsa, and James arrives just in time to neutralize the threat. We are still in episode 1 and James' body count is going up very quickly. No complaints here, like I said before, that's why I'm watching. James and Shea cross paths again because Shea is taking a group of immigrants up north. These guys don't know how to swim, they haven't got any weapons, they don't really know how to ride horses, so Shea needs all the help he can get on this journey. James is hesitant at first, but after the attack on Elsa, he accepts Shea's offer. The Duttons will join the immigrants' convoy. We're almost done with episode 1, but there's one last scene I wanted to mention. A lady of the evening approaches Shea and tries to get it on with him. She figures out that Shea has lost someone, but Shea just pushes her away. Her pimp tries to intervene, and Shea immediately pulls his pistol and goes, quote, "You know what I'm doing here? Looking for a reason. You wanna be my reason?" End quote. The pimp is like, nope, and Shea says, "Then sit the freak down." Shea approaches this gal, whispers his wife's name in her ear, basically trying out what the gal said they should do, ironically, and Shea says it doesn't work and goes on his way. I don't know why, but this was my favorite scene from the premiere. I guess that's because it perfectly displays Shea's no-nonsense attitude, and I like a man that doesn't drink, doesn't gamble, and doesn't fool around with whores, so I'm Team Shea all the way. Episode 2 kicks off with a flashback to the Civil War. The show recreates a real scene from the Battle of the Antietam. History buffs might like this one. And we see how James got captured by the Union Army. We have a Tom Hanks cameo here. He plays a Union soldier, but he's not that important. Elsa's voiceover reveals that James doesn't talk about the war at all, and when he is recognized by somebody, he just turns around and walks away. He's not too fond of those memories. The immigrants, the Pinkertons, and the Dutton family set up camp 5 miles off of Fort Worth as they prepare for the journey ahead. Shea and Thomas struck a deal in episode 1 to acquire a bunch of mules and horses in exchange for the immigrants' ox, so that part is done, but they need some cattle for food. They hire 2 cowboys, Ennis and Wade, to round up a bunch of wild cattle because they can't afford to buy cattle. They are short-handed, so Elsa gets involved in the roundup as well. They come across a bunch of familiar cowboys on their way. They help out too, and this mission is a success. They've got their food. I'm sure some people don't like watching this stuff because I read those types of comments in my Yellowstone videos. They want less horse stuff, less ranching stuff, but I do enjoy these scenes a lot. I mean, I think we should see more cowboying on Yellowstone, so I certainly enjoyed watching this roundup. And it was good for Elsa's character development as she got a chance to show off her skills. That's kind of her deal, isn't it? Her mother and her aunt expect her to be a lady, but at heart, she is her father's girl. She wants to be a cowboy, an adventurer, and I think this conflict is entertaining to watch. While the roundup is taking place, a bunch of bandits approach the campsite to use the river, but Claire, being the dumbass she is, starts throwing rocks at these guys, which obviously provokes them. They come back and kill a few immigrants, as well as Claire's daughter. Claire had recently lost her husband, that's why she joined James on this journey in the first place, and now her daughter is dead too. The Pinkertons and James go to Marshal Jim Courtwright to take care of these bandits, and the Marshal is played by Billy Bob Thornton, another excellent actor. I'm kind of sad because I don't think we'll see him after this episode, because they're leaving Fort Worth, but I don't know, maybe they'll bring him in some other way. The Marshal deputizes James before going after the bandits. One of the immigrants shows the Marshal who attacked the camp, and the Marshal starts his inquiry. Or so we think, because he just starts blasting these guys and boom, the problem is solved in 10 seconds. And the Marshal goes, quote, "If anybody here fancies himself a gunman, you're in the wrong town. There's only one killer in Fort Worth and that's me." End quote. That was spicy and unexpected. It's one way to take care of problems, but this poses a threat to everyone at the camp because the locals won't like this incident, which is why the wagon train has to get going in the morning. Claire, though, has no intention of going because this is the 7th child she has lost. She has no reason to live anymore, and she offs herself next to her daughter's grave. Shea admires her courage because he couldn't go through with this deed himself, while Ennis keeps flirting with Elsa. Her voiceover at the end of the episode is quite interesting. Quote, "We were backing into the abyss, so worried our sins would follow us, we didn't bother watching where we walked, and behind us was a cliff." End quote. That is obviously foreshadowing the chaos that is about to ensue over the course of this journey. I enjoyed these 2 episodes a lot. I think Tim McGraw is a likable protagonist as James Dutton. Shea is an absolute legend because of Sam Elliott. There are some lighthearted moments, which is good for the pace and the flow of these episodes. The scenery, the cinematography, the score, those are all excellent in my opinion. I didn't find the actress playing Margaret that convincing. Her acting seemed off, but I don't know, let me know if you agree with that. I felt like there was enough action in these 2 episodes, and I'm sure they won't shy away from it going forward, which is going to be one of the most enjoyable aspects of this show. Well, what did you think about the premiere of 1883? Leave your comments down below, like this video if you've enjoyed this breakdown, and subscribe for more movie reviews and TV show breakdowns. That's it for now, take care and see you in the next video.